Hey there, good morning. How's everybody doing today? I'm Connie Fuchsa, and this is Coffee with Connie. Thanks so much for tuning in this morning. I really look forward to talking to you guys. And let me first say, if you are tuning in this morning live, please check in, say hi, let me know that you're on. It always helps me know what to talk about, what everybody's information people are looking for. So, hey there, Sherry East. How are you this morning? Thanks for tuning in. And if you're watching on the live broadcast, I really appreciate your time, and I understand as well how important your time is. So if you would please check in and let me know that you got some information, what we talked about was helpful, all of that helps me a lot. Hey there, good morning, Sharon. How are you today? I love watching those pictures of that grandbaby. He is so adorable. Thanks for sharing all those. First, let me say, last night I put up a challenge or some information, and I really appreciate everybody taking the time to respond about your idea of success for yourself. You know, I try to put some information out there that I'm curious about because it helps me understand or have some direction in my own situations. And I really appreciate you guys taking the time and responding to that last night too. I know a lot of you responded, shared, and I really appreciate that. That was really important to me. And I try to do that as we're going along. There's a lot of things that I share, both information about real estate, and there's also information that I just talk about business-wise, personal-wise. You know, success is, when I talked about that last night, I asked it because, you know, success in everybody's mind is a different thing. And you may be an entrepreneur, you may work for someone else, you may be a mom that stays home and has a really hard job taking care of your children. You may be a grandma that stays home and takes care of some grandchildren. Those are all incredibly important jobs. You may be a dad that stays home and takes care of your children. And success can mean anything from the beginning to the end of the day and the things that happen in between. So I just wanted to say thanks so much for everybody for participating and giving me some feedback. I really appreciate it. It helps me be a better person as well. So thanks so much for that. I appreciate it. Hey, Joan, how are you this morning? Thanks for tuning in. So let me get started. This morning I wanted to talk to you guys about the whole concept of, you know, you're buying a brand new home, and before the builder built the home, the property that the home's built on was a big old farm. And I get this question all the time because I think people are a little confused about the protections that you need to make sure that your ownership is secure and protected. So because I get this question all the time, I like to be able to help with information that I think that helps you answer questions, maybe has a question that you have, maybe it spurs a question if you're thinking about doing something. So that's why I try to provide this information. Hey there, Timmy. Thank you. How are you this morning? So I get this question a lot, and I know a lot of people are starting to, as this weather is just fantastic, spread their wings, start to look at new homes, start to look at buying a home, first-time home buyers. And one thing I wanted to talk about for a minute was buying a home from a builder that has just built a home in on a farm or has developed a piece of property that was previously undeveloped. And a lot of people have a little misconception about how that actually works. And sometimes, unfortunately, one thing I see is that maybe builder representatives don't understand the protections that you need to make sure that your ownership is protected. And so they'll tell you, well, you don't really need that, don't worry about it. And so what I'm really talking about is insurance to protect your home ownership. And why does this matter? Well, you know, it's one more thing that you see on your closing statement that can be a little overwhelming because, you know, you have one more thing that you have to think about, decide, make a decision on. And I think it's particularly very important when you're buying a new home to take this very seriously. And the reason is because when you're buying a home from a builder, yes, there has been a search of the land records, and the builder has purchased the farm and divided all of those properties up that he's going to build all the different homes on. But what you have to understand, particularly in those kind of scenarios, those are where issues can arise later because people later realize, wow, my grandparents' farm was sold and I should have maybe had some ownership interest in that, or at least there's a question about it. Hey there, Sharon. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, Pam. How are you today? Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. So when we talk about protecting your home ownership, what we want to do is make you aware of the fact that after you go to closing and you've spent your money, you've gotten the mortgage that best suits your needs, you found this dream home that you're super excited about, how are you making sure that no one can ever come back and say, hey, I may have an interest in that property. I may own a piece of that property. I may own the land that your house sits on. How are you protected? So the way that you're protected is what's called title insurance, and it's something that's offered to you at the closing table. The lender requires that you get it to protect them, and your owner's policy that will protect you is an optional cost. Now, why does it matter when you're buying a brand new home? Of course, it seems like, wow, everything's clean, brand new, fresh, everybody's checked everything, everything's great. Well, when you're buying a brand new home, as I said, let's look at the scenario that maybe you're buying a home that was a brand new home that was built on a farm. And let's say that farm was in a family's ownership, and that family, let's say the grandparents, owned it for 65 years. And one of the grandparents passed away a year ago, and then the other one more recently passed away. Well, in this scenario, let's say one of them passed away 5 years ago, and then the other one passed away a year ago. And all of the heirs of the estate, so let's say all of their children, let's say there was 4 children, and they all got together and said, all right, let's just sell this piece of property. We have a builder who has come to us and said, we want to develop this piece of property and we want to build some homes on it. So great, that's wonderful. And so the builder comes in and says, all right, I'm going to buy this piece of property. Those 4 children of the 2 parents that owned that farmhouse forever said, all right, we're going to sell it. We are the owners, and let's go ahead and sell this piece of property to the builder. So when the company that does the closing does the research, they check and make sure that all of the people that had an interest in that property actually signed off when the builder purchased it. Now, let's say for an example, and this happens more than I can tell you, there was one of the brothers and sisters had passed away. Let's say there was really 5 of them, but only 4 of them were still alive. Well, that 5th one, where is that 5th one's ownership interest? Where did that go? Just because that person passed away doesn't mean it disappeared. It could be with their children. It could be with their spouse. It could be that they did a deed and transferred their interest to their siblings so that those 4 siblings do in fact own that property 100%. But if for some reason that ownership interest wasn't resolved, which happens more than I can possibly tell you, then, everybody thought, oh, that person's passed away. Their estate's all cleared up. Cool. No, we don't need that person to sign off on anything. Absolutely not cool. Absolutely not the case. If that person's interest wasn't properly resolved in this piece of property, then that person's estate, let's say their children, let's say their spouse, they weren't married, and their children have an ownership interest in anything that was in their estate. Well, let's say one of their children finds out that this family farm was sold, the builder buys the property, subdivides all of the pieces, cuts it all up into the pieces that he wants to build the homes on, builds the home, you purchase the home, and 5 years later, one of those children say, oh my, wow, Grandma's farm was sold, and that my dad should have had an interest in that, which means I should have, and wait a minute, no one ever talked to me about that. Now, this person may not have any financial interest, or they may not be able to come and take your home, but you may have to defend your ownership interest. So let's say in this example, that child comes back and says, hey, what happened with the grandma's farm? Because I never signed off on anything, and my dad was one of the owners of that property when grandma and grandpa passed away. Well, the other siblings say, well, your dad passed away, so we went ahead and sold the farm, and we didn't check with you because your dad had already passed away and his estate was already settled. Well, his estate also includes anything that his family owns and that he may have a potential ownership interest in. So, as I said, this child may not have the ability to come in and say, okay, all the homes, let's say there was 10 homes built in this neighborhood, all those homes I have an ownership interest in, but they do have a potential ownership interest in the property that those homes is built on, or maybe they don't. The one thing that title insurance does is they come in and defend your ownership interest. So, hiring an attorney to protect your interest if someone makes a claim on your ownership at any time during your ownership can be very expensive. Attorneys have lots of knowledge and lots of education on their specific area of expertise. And so therefore, to make sure that they are protecting you, you find the right one that works with you, then it could become very expensive for you to protect your interest. And the problem with that is you may not have the resources to be able to do that. You've spent all this money buying this house, you've decorated it, you've added some amenities to your home, and you don't have that extra cash laying around to defend your interest. Well, if you don't defend your interest, they're going to take you to court and potentially put a lien against your property or force a sale. Those are all things that you really need to pay attention to. Hey, Gage, how are you? Hey, Vicky. How are you? Thanks for tuning in. Gage, shouldn't you be at school yet? Oh, maybe it's just not that time yet. I got you a little early. Thanks for tuning in, buddy. It's good to see you. So you're potentially talking about a person that has a very valid interest in a piece of property that you bought this brand new home and you've done all these things and you don't have the money to defend yourself. Now, title insurance is a little different than any other type of insurance. And the reason is, one, because they actually have attorneys that defend you, and all you have to do is go to them and say, someone's made a claim against my ownership, I need you to protect me. And so they jump in and they start taking care of things and doing the research to figure out, is there really a valid claim here? Does somebody really have an interest, and do we need to protect you, and how do we need to protect you? And the other thing that they do is they don't charge you a deductible. When you pay that fee at closing for that protection, for that title insurance policy, it's a one-time fee. It covers you for as long as you own that home or as long as your heirs own that home. So as long as that ownership is in your family through your original ownership, you're protected. And there's no additional cost for it. There's no deductible. There's no, oh my gosh, you have to pay $100 first or you have to pay $500 first. That's all included in the policy. And it covers you for as long as you own the property for anything that happened before you purchased it. So exactly this scenario. Let's say, for example, that this child may have been due their father's interest, $5,000 per lot, or, on the big piece of property, maybe it was a $50,000 payout that this particular part of the estate should have happened. And so that child maybe do that, and he could go to each of those homeowners and say, I was due some financial reimbursement here when this property was sold, and I didn't get it. So what happens? How do you take care of that? Well, they're going to go to court, and they're going to have someone defending them to help them recoup what they feel is theirs. So this is exactly why you need to make sure you're protected. And a lot of people think when I buy a brand new home, everything's clean and fresh and nothing can possibly happen. Well, anything can happen. And in this particular case, there's in a builder situation, when you're buying a brand new home that was developed out of something that was undeveloped before, these potential things can happen very easily, and it's one of the most common things we actually see. So I just want to give you a little heads up, just so you understood about that. When someone says to you, hey, talks to you about title insurance is really protecting your home ownership. And no matter who you buy from, how you buy it, where you buy it, what's going on, don't let someone talk you out of that. If nothing else, ask the questions, understand the protection it gives you, because you don't want to be sitting in your home 6 months from now, out on your deck, enjoying the sun in the middle of the summer and having a glass of wine or a cup of coffee in the morning, and someone to knock on your door and say, hey, when this piece of property was sold to the builder that built your house, I didn't get to sign off on it, and this was my grandparents' farm. And you don't know what to do. You're going to say, gosh, get the heck out of my property. But this is a potential problem that someone could actually make that claim. So really a serious thing that you need to think about. And what I want you to say is, hey, let me ask a question about protecting my homeownership. What does that mean? What does it cost? What do I need to do? And what does it cover? Because these are the things that you really need to think about when everybody's gone, the closing's all over, and 2 years from now, someone knocks on your door. That's when the scary thing happens. So I just wanted to bring something up that hopefully got asked a question, maybe spurred a thought in your mind. Hey, Anita, how are you this morning? And potentially, if you don't understand it and you want some more information, these are the things that we are definitely well versed in and can help you with. Any of our team members in Maryland and Virginia are totally well versed in being able to help you. We can also help you if you have questions out of state. We can't do those closings, and sometimes things are a little bit different, and we can certainly reach out to some resources that we have if you have questions outside of those two areas. So thanks so much for your questions too, because without your questions, I can go through lots of content and information on things I have, but your questions help me a lot because it helps me understand what you might be thinking about or what you might need information on. So it is always very important. Two things I wanted to tell you. As I said to you at the beginning of the year, my goal is to, and my word for the year is execute. And every month we are launching something new that's a resource for you to help you understand and have a better real estate process and to make it smooth and simple for you. So our new launch for March is not quite ready. It's going to be ready at the beginning of next week. We are launching something you don't want to miss that answers lots of these questions about title insurance and protecting your home ownership. So that should be ready for you at the beginning of next week, and we'll let you know in that Coffee with Connie next week what those details are. So keep your eyes out. The other thing is if you live in Maryland, Southern Maryland, or in the Northern Neck of Virginia, and you have not, or you know someone moving to those areas, which is even better, and you have not downloaded our Welcome Home Guide, you're really missing out. Our Welcome Home Guide has information about all the resources you need in both of those areas, phone numbers, contacts, school systems, animal rescue, police department, fire department. You can get it online. You can get it on our website. You can get it through our Facebook page. There's all different places you can download a digital copy. And if you want a hardbound copy, all you have to do is message me and we'll get that right out to you. Also, if you're looking to advertise in those, there's advertising spots. We're only taking one business per area, so you don't have duplication, and it's good for a year. So let me know if you're interested in doing that. As you know, our website has lots of good information on it, so please go to www.foottetitlegroup.com and check out the buyer's page, seller's page. Click on the resources. You'll find all kinds of things there that will help you out. And we have all kinds of things launching new weekly. We're putting up new information. So thanks so much for your time this morning, guys. I really appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for checking in as well. And if you have any questions that we can answer, please message me, reach out to any of our team members through our website. They're all well versed in both of those states, and we'd love to help you. If we don't know the answer, we will find it for you. So you guys have a great day. I look forward to talking to you again soon. I'm Connie Foote with Foote Title Group, where we protect your home ownership. Have a great day, guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.